This is Carl with the three things to watch for Thursday, March the 20th. Starting out, I want to follow up yesterday from Chairman Powell's Federal Reserve comments after the Fed rate came out, the decision. It's not so much what the Fed did because they really didn't do anything. They left interest rates unchanged, 4.25 to 4.5%. But it's the statements that came out of the Federal Reserve afterwards. One of the big ones being a removal from their previous statements that U.S. trade risk is in balance. That is gone. So we do not think that we have a balance of risk in the market anymore. Federal Reserve was quick to say that tariff uncertainty is impacting their outlook on the future of the U.S. economy. We kind of knew that, but the Federal Reserve is reiterating it and solidifying their thoughts. They do not know what impact the tariffs will have on interest rates. So bottom line is, it's kind of a wait and see pattern. The next Federal Reserve meeting is May 6th and 7th. So that would be our next chance of a rate cut. Interesting this month. The vote for a rate to leave it unchanged was 11-1. So 11 members voted to leave the rate unchanged. Going forward, Chairman Powell said that there was the majority of Federal Reserve members were looking for future rate cuts. The number of, even though we're still looking for those rate cuts, the number of members who are expecting them has declined. So a little less optimism on future rate cuts there. One thing that jumped out at me, and this was from the labor side, Chairman Powell said that while people are not necessarily losing their jobs to create higher unemployment, once you're unemployed, you're having a hard time finding a job, that the job market is that tight, and that is throwing off their numbers a little bit. So, bottom line, they're kind of regrouping and basically said, we don't know what's going to happen, especially ahead of the April 2nd reciprocal tariffs. We need to see those in place and see what it's going to do for the economy. Until then, there is a lot of concern over softening consumer sentiment. We'll watch that as we move forward. Moving forward, the other two things I'm watching for today's session. Number one, Brazilian production estimates. We've started to see them soften a little bit. Even the ones that were up around that 174 million metric tons on soybeans have cut those. They're back in line with almost everybody else around that 170. But there are some outliers coming in a little bit lower than that. Bottom line, yields are dropping in Brazil as we move forward. We kind of expected that. Big question now is what we'll see for safrinha. That crop's seeing some major drought stress down there. 50% of the safrinha crop in Brazil under drought. Like I said, I'm reiterating the fact I do believe we have seen the highest yield estimates out of Brazil we will see this year. It's Thursday. Export sales come out today. I expect to see a pretty good week as far as numbers go, barring any cancellations. Those have been the wild card lately, but we have seen good sales. We've seen several small sales on corn that'll be factored into this number, and we saw flash sales over the period that'll be figured into today's numbers too. So I expect to see a pretty decent week as far as export demand goes. This has been Carl with the three things I'm watching for today's trade.